Actually, it's a school night tonight, and I was actually in bed, ready to go to sleep.
Wow.
And I was watching a recorded debate.
Okay,
And
what about last night,
I saw your position saying
what about
I'm
last
scared
night, buddy?
Excuse me?
What about last night?
Hold on, let me finish. Because I know how you don't like to be interrupted. I've seen some of your videos. I saw your position saying, well, actually, this topic, that I'm scared of you. I don't have any, no matter how smart you are.
50 times last night.
There's no reason for me to be scared of you. Now, if you're not going to let me finish, obviously I'm not going to get my point across.
I mean, you're not letting me finish, so
no, because I was the one that started. I was the one that started. Okay? Now let me finish. I accepted every single challenge of yours last night.
Thing.
I accepted, dude, listen. I accepted every single challenge.
I'm here to debate something. Are you going to just talk shit or are you going to debate?
I'm not talking shit. You're the one talking shit. I'm just responding to what you're saying. I'm not like trying to.
Because you wouldn't accept anything. You're calling me out. So
I did accept it.
This guy on the right
is a dude. Your shit didn't load. Your shit did not fucking load. I did accept it.
You didn't accept anything.
Now I did accept it.
So what do you want to debate about? You want to debate about religion, or do you want to debate about guns?
I didn't want to debate you to begin with. I wanted you to debate with Chris, and then you got onto me, which I don't care. Sure, I'll debate you about anything. I think we have similar views. He didn't want it. I think we have similar views. I'm not scared to debate anybody, even if I'm wrong. Like I'm not gonna be scared. I'm not gonna run away. I accepted every single one of your challenges. And I think the real
Chris, I said, you're all talk. Are we gonna debate? This is a debating app.
Well, you keep challenging me. I had nothing to debate you about, but if you'd like to, sure. You didn't let me like
what was that?
No, it doesn't matter because anything I'm gonna say, you're gonna pretend like I didn't say it. So you might as well.
Well, okay. I said let's debate. We're gonna debate, or we're gonna handle it like women and just talk. I mean, fuck.
Who started handling it like that? Look at the topic of the fucking debate.
Bro, you're still going on with it. What do you want to debate about?
Should I start like this?
Do you fucking like my poses or something? You remember them?
No, I remember a lot of things.
Exactly.
You're a cashier, yeah. Anyways.
And what does that have to do? What are you?
Nothing. You said do you remember? You said, do you remember? So I said, yeah, I remember some things.
I mean, it's fine. Keep going on about my life. Are we going to debate or what?
What would you like to... I don't want to debate. I want to go to sleep. But what would you like to debate? Because you're going to keep calling me scared if I don't fucking debate you about something.
Well, I mean, you were talking shit last night, so let's debate. What are your views on the Second Amendment?
I have the same views as you.
Okay, but religion, you say that God's not real because he's almighty in this and that, right?
I'm Jewish, but I've challenged my opinion on the existence of God before. Whether that be personally or...
Do you believe in God or you don't? It's either you believe in him or you don't.
No, that's pretty close-minded. I do believe in God, but I have times when I think, okay, maybe...
So you doubt God, basically?
At times.
So you're not sure if he's real or not?
You can't be sure without having proof.
That's why it's sure without having proof.
That's why it's belief. I haven't seen God, so I'm not sure he exists.
So does India exist? Have you never been there?
There's fucking proof of India existing.
Okay, well, I could say there's proof of God in my life by how he directs my life and the good of my life and everything.
Because I can pull up a map of India. I can't pull up a picture of God.
Okay. You go to church, right?
No.
You don't go to church. Have you ever been to church?
I've been to synagogue before.
I don't know what the fuck that is, but you said you're Jewish. I'm guessing it's like church, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't like to debate.
Have you ever had a discussion with your friends or something, and then you go to church, and it's talking about what to do in that scenario, and it's basically guiding you in the right scenario? That may not happen to you, but it happens to many people.
I'm confused. Say that all again.
Okay. You have a discussion where you have stuff going through your life. Let's say, I don't know, like your mom died or something like that. Now you're just trying to get through it, and then you go to church, and the whole scripture about it is actually something to help you get lifted above and help you get through the hard time. Have you ever done something like that?
Yeah, I can.
Through church. So would you say that's not a sign of God helping you or anything? Or is you're just going to say, oh, it's just a coincidence?
Well, I don't think you should assume what I'm going to say. I think that it's us hoping that God will help us. That doesn't mean he necessarily will help us.
Well, I mean, do you want God to basically tell you what to do, or what? I mean,
I didn't say that.
But you say that he's almighty. Why does he let these shootings happen, this and that? Now, do you know Adam and Eve? Have you heard of my Bible, the Adam and Eve part?
Yeah.
In the Bible, I guess you like to quote it, God is almighty. Now, he lets them choose. He told them not to eat the apple. They ate the apple, right?
Right.
So what if this world was perfect? Why wouldn't it just be called heaven?
Because heaven isn't based on the physical world. You can still have a perfect physical world, which we won't, but it's a possibility. But heaven is spiritual, in my belief. You can have a different belief. Spiritual. You can believe it.
Heaven is a place you go to if you go to heaven.
I don't think this body is going to go to heaven.
That body's not going to go to heaven.
Okay, so that's not physical.
So your body can't handle heaven right now.
Spiritual.
If there was no evil, if God was almighty, and this is where he was at, why not just name this heaven then? What would be the point of heaven?
So because this can't be called heaven, we should be okay with bad things happening.
Okay. Do you know how
cruel things to innocent people?
Do you know how hell started?
No, you can educate me on it if you like.
Hell started with a guy named Lucifer. He was basically jealous of God and he wanted his power. So therefore God gave him the power of hell, which he does basically own that. Now you go to heaven or hell, if through the way you live your lifestyle. People like to say you can't say if someone's going to go to heaven or hell, et cetera, but
right, because far too often people say that what God wants for us is what is, and we don't know that because nobody's directly spoken to God, and if they have, they could possibly, or if they said that they have, they could be lying about it. So we can't base our knowledge of the afterlife on what somebody else says. That's why a lot of our beliefs should be created internally, like what we.
But then nothing would exist to us because who's the one who come up with something?
A society of it, a religion of it wouldn't exist, but it would exist individually.
Individually. Do you believe in evolution?
I think there's scientifically backed evidence of it having occurred.
I don't believe in it. But even evolution itself does not prove God
doesn't exist. What about fruit flies? You can have a fruit fly experiment in a lab where they evolve, literally.
Evolve. So would you say
that's evolution?
So I can't think of the other word. It's not evolving. It's
reproducing.
No, not producing. You don't evolve. I forgot the word right now, but I'll bring it up in a bit. But if the evolution scale, I forgot how they scale everything. I forgot the term for it, but they basically scale by rocks.
It would be over a longer period of time.
Yeah, they think we've been here for millions and millions and millions and millions and billions and millions years. Well, there's a volcano that erupted 50 years ago. Well, at the time of the study, there was a volcano that erupted, and then 50 years later, they went to test it as the evolution scale, how they rank the Earth. Now, 50 years, we've seen it erupt. 50 years, it's been 50 years. The scale they used estimated the volcano to be millions and millions and millions and millions and millions years old. So if you want to, and that's why people on evolution side don't believe, the Earth hasn't been here for 10,000 years. It's been millions, millions, millions years. But the thing is, this 50-year volcano.
Well, if you believe in God and the Bible stories, then how does that correlate with you believing the world has existed for such a long time?
Because that's how the evolution believes that this world's been here so long by the scale.
So when do you believe the Earth? I guess we could say the Earth, like the world began.
In the Bible, I would say probably no more than 12,000 years, 10,000 years, somewhere around that range.
But we have fossil evidence.
Fossil evidence? Actually, good thing you bring that up. The fossil evidence has a certain coding on it. I'm not scientific on these things. I've read them by scientists. They have coding on them that would not let them pass a certain thousands of years, not millions or anything like that. Not even over.
Well, yeah, it's got to be it's a prediction.
Well, no. The evidence of what's on the fossils, there's something, I don't know what's called on it. You can look it up. They found out that if this fossil was millions and millions of years old, it wouldn't be having this, we'll say blood, for example, which is not blood.
I know what you mean.
And they're saying this is on the fossil, so there's no way it would be millions of years.
I'm sure there's something that they could have found that could have been a lot older than 12,000 years.
Like what?
That there has to have been for them to.
By the scale they're using, they did the 50-year volcano came up that the dirt was millions and millions and millions years old. So I mean, it goes both ways when they say this Earth is not 10,000 years old or this Earth is millions and millions of years. Well, tell me how this volcano that's 50 years old said it's a bajillion years and everything like that. So that's why I think evolution is false, but why I believe in God is God.
Because of a volcano.
What was that?
I mean, but there's so much evidence to evolution being real.
Like what?
And
if evolution is real, why would birds exist? Why would an animal all of a sudden grow wings?
Because, what do you mean?
Because evolution, basically, it's saying that
Well, it depends on how you look at it. I'm saying an animal has the potential to
evolve. But if you get a disease, get cured, is that evolving?
What was that?
If you have a disease and you come over the cure, are you evolving?
No, it's more like mutilations over and over again, over a long period of time.
Okay, so but why if
it's not like a tiger turns into a cat.
Why do predators evolve, or why do things evolve?
Because there's things that come up for them.
Adapt. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. Adapt.
There's always something above.
People adapt. They don't.
There's always something above the predator.
Okay, earlier, right? I don't know the study, but I mean you can look it up and read it. But Chris did help me out with the word adapt. People adapt. They don't evolve. I just don't understand why.
Well, we're not just talking about people. We're talking about animals also.
Well, animals, people, everything. We'll just say animals because evolution is
but
that
adaptation over.
What was that?
That adaptation over a long period of time is evolving eventually. Like they correlate.
Adaptation is not evolving, but the thing is, why not? Why
define both of those words and tell me how they don't correlate?
Wings, so I don't understand it.
To migrate,
but what would evolution? Because if you evolve, you're basically doing a greater thing from what happened before, right?
Yes.
So why would
having wings is greater than not having
out
wings?
Of nowhere.
Because clearly having wings is better than not having wings. It gives you more ability for transportation.
When they first started out, they weren't wings. They were just little nubs, and then wings. So Evolve knew that they should be wings, or I just don't understand.
No, but that could have been a mutation.
Mutation. So, but then that's not evolution; it's a mutation.
Yes, but mutations occurring. If you look at Darwin's theory, even mutations occurring over a long period of time is.
Mm-hmm. Well, then how do people, we'll say kids, for example, when a kid does something wrong, they can't even talk yet, they can give you the look and they know they did something wrong. How does that work?
What are you talking about? Human nature?
Yeah, human nature. I would say that's not evolution, because if a kid does something wrong, not even knows anything, not even can speak a special word, barely walk.
I never said evolution would be within our lifetime.
Technically, evolution is our lifetime as well.
No, that's just growth.
But technically, wouldn't we have evolved into something from something?
Because that's not how evolution works. They base it off of, like you said, a long period of time.
A long period of time. Exactly. So therefore, we evolved into something before us. As people like to say, gorillas. We came from gorillas, but the middle animal died.
That's not. Nobody's ever said gorillas.
That's basically evolution's biggest thing. That we look like monkeys, basically.
Okay, but come on. Like if you're gonna make a statement, at least make it accurate. It's not.
How's that not accurate? Then what is evolution?
Because it's never been a gorilla. It goes from like Homo sapien, Homo erectus, Neanderthal. It's not a gorilla.
And you say it takes how many years? Just an estimate. You don't have to be down on or anything.
Well, it says millions.
Millions.
If you look it up.
So today is the millionth year from a millionth year ago. Where's the species in between?
It doesn't happen on today.
But today's the millionth year of a million years ago.
If you look at us versus people from, if you look at us versus people from 10,000 years ago, there's a big difference.
From 10,000. But the thing is, our scale of aging.
It's not a day-to-day scale. What?
I said the scale of aging these things are wrong. So, I mean, when you say look at the people from 10,000 years ago, they're a big difference.
Wait. Is it because of the volcanoes?
What you think? What you said earlier, guy on the right, the carbon dated actually can go back to 40,000 years. C14 has shed too many lives to be measurable. I'm not sure which one it is, and I don't know if you're reading the same thing.
That already triples your...
Triples, okay. And that is triple. But the thing is, evolution. You say it takes millions of years, but therefore, if it's 40,000 years, it hasn't been a million years at all.
But it's not like, they're not saying it's proven. They're just a hypothesis.
But you believe it, but if it's a hypothesis. So you believe hypothesis, but you won't believe God. What? So you believe a hypothesis.
This argument started with me saying I believe in God.
Okay, but like you question God and you question everything basically.
Because I have less proof.
You have less proof, but I mean, believing in evolution is a faith as well.
There's more evidence. It's easier to prove evolution. It's much easier to prove evolution than to prove the existence. And
that's not true.
It is true because we have more evidence. As for what she just said, we have more evidence for evolution.
You have more evidence by how? So there's actual proof that evolving occurs.
Like Chris said, evolution is scientifically backed. We have evidence that evolution has occurred.
Scientific, okay, but...
If I have to pull it up for you, I will.
Do it. Go type in any scientist that has actually said evolution has occurred.
I mean, I gave you the fruit fly example, but you didn't accept that.
What was that?
I gave you the fruit fly example, but you didn't accept that.
I want a scientist. I've never heard any eligible scientist that we've evolved from anything. And if we can date things from millions and millions of years ago, what is our middle animal?
What?
What is our middle animal that evolved us?
Why would that matter? There is no middle animal. It just goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like there's no.
So what? So from 100 years ago, what's changed?
It doesn't happen in 100 years. It happens
slowly and slowly and slowly, just as if you were getting wings.
Well, maybe you can think of a change as a mental progressive.
I mean, Nick 0120 and Chris 6212. I mean, you guys have the internet. Why don't you guys back up my opinions, not just your one-sided ones? You say that you're not going to find the answer here.
People choose the side they agree with. It's not like they're not biased.
All right, hold on. I'm going to go grab my laptop and I'll read the studies for you.
We'll read them together. Okay. Okay, here you go. You there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So you can look up the reliability of the website. necsi.edu. And then it's a project on evolution. The 5 types of evidence for evolution are discussed in this section. Ancient organism remains, fossil layers, similarities among organisms alive today, similarities in DNA, and similarities of embryos. Now give me that same type of evidence for the existence of God. Give me something that relates, that proves the existence of God.
Hold on 1 second.
Some kind of evidence for the existence of God.
Wait 1 second. I'm about to read you something about Darwin.
I was really trying to go to sleep.
So Darwin basically said, do you know the warm little pond theory?
Say that, I can't hear you.
The warm little pond theory?
The warm little pond?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you can put it together by just hearing the statement.
What, like bacteria in a pond?
Mm-hmm. During the study, some scientists spontaneous trends that which Darwin's hoped later the famous scientist. I mean, I don't know how you didn't hear this stuff about his, like, everything about it, basically. Expectations, here, let me pull up the thing. Okay, so this is, when Charles Darwin came up with this theory, he admitted that no transitional forms had been found at at the time, but he believed that huge numbers certainly existed and would eventually be discovered. Even some of the most famous evolutionists in the world acknowledge the complete absence of traditional fossils in the fossil record. For example, Patterson from British Museum of Natural History and author of Evolution. This was before he studied the finches. What about the study of finches, evolution of different brain shapes of bugs, birds, to help with dietary needs?
I mean, that is true. They were...
What was that?
I'm in high school. In high school, they typically teach that the main study they show is with the finches and beaks. And how do you explain that? Is that
the beaks? Adaptation? I mean, that's exactly something you should explain. So why would they grow beaks? Why would they grow wings in the first place?
Because
why would they need to have little blood in their body?
Because that was necessary.
To fly? What was that?
Because that was necessary for them to adapt.
But the thing is, when you say adapt, I don't think you understand how everything became an adaptation.
To survive.
What was that?
To survive. You adapt to survive.
You adapt to survive. So wouldn't everything... So basically, all of a sudden, you had just one thing and then just separate ways?
What?
I went to private school, so I didn't learn about evolution. I learned about the Bible and stuff like that. Now...
I bet.
If evolution occurred, it started from one animal, right?
Yeah.
So if it started from one animal, you're saying that it just went all separate ways of different animals, every just new animal.
There's a possibility. That's a possibility. You can't really prove that.
The DNA structures. Let me read you something.
I mean, our whole debate is on the existence of God.
I mean, but you kind of believe in... Yeah, we're talking about my religion, but you believe... You basically said that there's no proof of it, but you believe in something that Charles Darwin said that there was no proof of.
No, Charles Darwin had evidence. You don't have evidence.
Charles Darwin didn't have evidence, and he admitted that he didn't have any evidence, actually.
The beaks of the finches changing is evidence. That's something. What do we have to prove that God exists?
But, okay, I don't understand. Why isn't evolution happening today?
It is. First of all, I showed you the example of fruit flies. Second of all, it's not happening today because it doesn't happen over a day or 2 years or 10 years or even 500 years.
If you lived in Alaska, blazing cold, you know that's normal for you, right? You move to, let's say, I'm in Texas, so right now I'm visiting Texas right now, so I'm just going to say Texas. If you move to Texas where it is hot as hell, you begin to get to that heat, that's adapting to the weather. That's not evolving. You didn't evolve over that time to get used to the weather. You adapted to the weather.
Yes, and over a long period of time.
It's not a long
enough period of time.
That's what adapting means. What you guys are saying that evolution is not adapting.
They correlate. They literally correlate. They go hand in hand together.
Evidence due short-term memory loss because I show you examples and it's magically clear. I didn't even read yours, but I was answering Chris's thing. Totally different. So how is that totally different? I want to ask Chris. But the thing
I honestly don't think they're totally different. I think they correlate.
There are short-term thermal adaptations that our skin is made for. Basically, it's adapting. That's what adapting is. You just basically.
But it correlates with evolution. If you're adapting for a long period of time, like millions of years or thousands of years, eventually you're gonna.
Okay, but the thing is, we would be evolving from 100 years ago. Something on our body would be different.
Maybe it is. Maybe it's mental.
Like what?
Well, you can't ask somebody like me what would be evolving if I haven't analyzed the human body from 100 years ago.
George Washington's body looked the same as all of ours. Did it not? Was there something different?
If there was, we wouldn't have known because the record keeping was completely different back then.
I mean, they know what his body looked like. I'm pretty sure they would know something drastic change.
But it wouldn't be drastic if it's only over 200 years. It would be very.
Okay, minimal. She says there is. What is there to offer that there is an evolution happening as we speak right now?
If she's the one talking to you, I'll wait for her to reply then. I'm making my own points. I don't flex your wrist. What is that?
Oh, there we go. Here. Anything that we dig up that is supposedly more than 250,000 years old should be absolutely no radiocarbon in it whatsoever. But instead, we find it in everything that we dig up, even dinosaur bones. This is clear evidence that millions of years theory is simply a bunch of nonsense. And that was the C14 levels as she was speaking.
So what do you think? So what was Lucy? What was Lucy?
Lucy was a monkey.
Lucy was a monkey. Since how many monkeys do you know that use thumb tools?
Thumb tools?
How many monkeys do you know that use tools?
Tools? Actually, we can train a monkey to basically use tools.
Humans can train a monkey. So what trains a monkey?
Okay, what tools did she use? I'm not updated on anything Lucy has done. I'd have to look
more specifically, but there has been evidence of the non-modern humans using tools. I'd have to look specifically. And all these, like, with age, they're all estimates, obviously.
And if gravity was stronger or weaker by the slimest of margins, then life-sustaining stars like the sun could not exist. This would also make life impossible. How can this basically account for? I mean, I don't have websites. These are my notes from Debating and Debating. You can look up all of these. Wrong is a gorilla who knows how to sign language.
Anyways, look. So you said gorillas.
Oh, here we go. Apes and humans are very different genetically. DarwinConspiracy.com
we have like
explains that human Y chromosome has twice as many genes as the chimpanzee Y chromosome, and the chromosome structures are not all the same.
Because they change over time.
So basically, they change to grow against us when we came from them.
Why would it be? It doesn't necessarily have to be.
Because Lucy was considered an ape, right? Okay. So therefore, you're basically saying that we evolved from them, but they're growing in a different way now.
I don't know. That's a possibility.
Nick, I wanna link to all your sources if we want to play this game, please. And it better be credited by every single producer out there, because apparently.
I don't think we have to play a game. I'm trying to go to sleep.
No, I'm just you believe it. You say you don't believe in the Bible because it's just.
Well, actually, I'm Jewish. I don't believe in the New Testament whatsoever.
Oh, you don't believe. Basically, you believe in evolution more, or you don't believe in God because there's no hard evidence of it.
See, but you're assuming I don't believe in God.
Well, I mean, you either believe in him or you don't. I mean, questioning about him. You're questioning him because you're not sure if you believe in him.
That's not how it works.
Mm-hmm.
You don't choose what I choose to believe in or don't believe in or question or don't question. You're trying to enforce upon me that I think that evolution is more credible than the existence of God.
Well, you say evolution is more credible because there's proof.
I said there's more evidence. But I'm not going to say that I don't believe in God because of the possibility of evolution being having existed.
Then why is there? They found dinosaur bones with soft tissue on them. How does that occur?
What do you mean? How does it occur?
How does that happen if the world is millions and millions of years old?
I don't know. Tissue from I don't know. Like, are you saying they were planted there?
No, I'm just saying if it's millions of years old, how is it still there?
Well, if it was thousands of years old, they wouldn't find soft tissue on it anyways.
And this is going to be a great question that, I mean, you probably heard many times. What evolved first? Did the blood, the heart, or the blood vessels for the blood to travel through? I mean, what happened with all that?
I don't know. I'm not a scientist.
Or the mouth, the stomach, the digestive fluid,
I don't know what evolved first.
The ability to poop.
Look,
the windpipe, lungs.
You're getting into evolution and you're debating me on evolution. That's not what I wanted to debate.
No, but you believe in evolution because there's more proof on it. But I'm reading you faulty proofs that even Darwin said himself.
There is more evidence. There's more evidence of evolution than there's
name evidence of God's existence. I want you to name something that you've actually seen.
There's no evidence.
Huh?
There's no evidence. There's no evidence of God's existence.
That's actually not true. There's evidence of God's existence.
Give me evidence of God's existence.
At the time, if he walked the earth, there was many people, not even in his village, that just seen him. They all wrote it down. People that would hate each other wrote down the same thing. People that didn't even communicate wrote the same thing. So how would that occur?
People did not communicate, but they wrote something down? What the fuck are you saying?
People that seen God, because, God walked, right? Yeah, I mean, you question my Bible. I'm guessing you know much about it, right? God would walk and heal people, right? Well, Jesus, I would say.
Okay, yeah, you need to be more specific, because
Jesus is
to
God.
Me, Jesus is nothing more than you are.
What was that?
To me, Jesus is nothing more than you are. So you saying Jesus God
is nothing. Okay, then how come his healings are recorded and studies?
Because back then, healing could have meant something different than it means today. I'm a massage therapist. If I touch somebody and they feel better,
that's not healing. Can you take a disease away from someone? No, you can't.
What was that? You can. You're going to get into a field you shouldn't get into. Now you're going to get into a topic you shouldn't get into, because I'm studying it.
You're studying what?
I'm studying to be a massage therapist.
Okay, so you're talking about touching tissues. You're healing now.
That's not my point. My point is, if somebody gets up, I feel better. And back then, 2,000 years ago, it was a similar situation. They would have said that. People would have assumed, oh, okay, he healed him. That doesn't necessarily mean that he had a broken bone, and next thing you know, he doesn't have a broken bone. If you expect me to let you finish, you should expect. If you expect me to let you finish, you should let me finish.
I mean, you don't let me finish. Don't, because you cut me off as well, but you don't notice that. Only when I cut you off.
I wait until you finish.
You don't.
Okay, make a statement and I'll wait.
Well, I mean, you're already going down the wrong path, so why not just stop you here?
Which path?
As you think that since you touch someone's soft tissue and rub it, you're healing.
No, that's not. But their interpretation.
A massage therapist, they can only heal as by rubbing what they're doing, right?
It's first of all, it's not just rubbing. That's kind of ignorant, because you're manipulating the tissue as well.
Second of all, are you not rubbing it though?
But you're not just rubbing it. You're making it seem like you're just taking it and rubbing it.
You're technically rubbing it harder than what normally is, and you're massaging the tissue.
Not if I'm not. So if I'm using my elbow, am I rubbing it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sure. Anyways, what I'm saying is their interpretation of healing 2,000 years ago could be different than ours today. Healing today is like somebody who has supernatural powers. 2,000 years ago, it could have just meant somebody that made somebody else feel better.
I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying. They wrote down what he did. They wrote down how the people felt after. They wrote down what he cured, etc., 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 just as it matches in the Bible.
And that makes it true.
I mean, you wanted proof. That's proof, right? So, yeah.
No, that's not proof.
I mean, just like you said that.
That's not proof that Jesus was God.
Just like you said, you can pull out a map and see that India is there. Well, you've never been there. You've never seen the whole world eye to eye like that. So you're trusting what people written down.
You're comparing modern technology to 2,000 years ago.
Okay, but then why are you putting something that did happen 2,000 years ago and saying, well, that didn't happen because I wasn't there?
Because there's less evidence of it.
Okay, so basically
writing it down doesn't mean there's evidence.
50,000 years down the road. We'll say 50,000 years down the road. These people are like, wow, the cell phones aren't a thing anymore. They have some new technology. Well, cell phones didn't exist because that's what people said 50,000 years ago.
No, there's much. We can keep record a lot better now than we could 2,000 years ago.
Well, I mean, what if they just totally go off a new record? Basically, you're saying that it doesn't exist because it's not credible because it was so old.
Okay. Yes.
I mean, you wanted proof. I just gave you proof.
Because everything that involves God happened in those times when we couldn't record it like with a video. Today, when we could record with a video, there's no happenings of God's involvement on this world.
There is, but okay.
Okay, what? Don't say okay. And
as like I said, you even said it yourself. When you go to church, you get that extra push that you're having a hard time in this, and you're still going to church. You're being faithful and everything, and you're in that push that scripture that they read and help you through it. I don't know what Jewish does, but as this, you've even said it happens before.
It's all in your brain.
It's not all in your brain. So when you need that extra push from God, that like, dude, like I'm having a hard time, I don't know what to do, and you go to church and it just lays out all the answers for you. That's not a sign of God.
Have you ever heard of the placebo effect?
I haven't.
You don't know what placebo is?
I've heard of it, but I'm not sure what that one is.
When I've actually experienced it. So take a real pill.
You what?
Like, you could do a sample on people taking a real pill versus taking a fake pill. Well, the people that take a fake pill,
okay, yeah, they're gonna placebo, yeah.
Okay, so you know what it is.
Yeah, so it's like basically saying like when a kid like if you don't say like oh my god, the kid's not gonna cry. Right.
You didn't let me finish.
You just said, oh, so you know what it is, and I said yes, and I said it's like that basically. So yes,
what I'm saying. Thank you, Chris. What I'm saying is, church could be like the placebo, where the prayer could be like the placebo.
How is that like a placebo?
How isn't it? Because you're told it's gonna work. So then obviously you're gonna assume it's gonna work.
Helping you through a scenario by the faith of God is a placebo.
It's a possibility.
It's a possibility?
Yes, no. because people say, oh, when you think positive, like things are going to turn out positive. That's all in your head.
Okay, let me ask you this. You believe in God. I don't know anything about Jewish. Explain to me a little about your religion.
I could say the same thing about Christianity.
I can explain it to you if you want to know about it, but I'm just wondering how yours works so I can explain it maybe.
Well, Christianity derived from Judaism. Jesus was a Jew.
Okay, but explain your religion. I don't know anything about Jewish stuff like you do. I mean, apparently you've opened my Bible before and said basically God is almighty, right?
We're really not different.
Okay, so we basically, the same thing. Would you follow the Bible then?
The only difference is that you guys believe that Jesus is the Messiah.
So it's kind of like Catholic, how they believe in Mother Mary, but we don't.
No, because Catholicism still believes in Jesus as the prophet, Messiah, whatever you want to call him. We don't.
I mean,
we don't believe that Jesus is the Son of God.
You don't. So you think that Jesus just walked the earth and was just a normal person that didn't exist?
No, he existed.
Well, like it didn't exist in God's way of saying it.
Yeah.
So you think but do you think he's from God, or how does that?
Well, we're all from God.
Well, like, do you think so you just think Jesus is another me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess we do have the same views. Now, so when you go to, I don't know, do you guys go to church?
Synagogue.
And you have scriptures. You take a verse out of the Bible, they say this is...
Yeah, see, with Judaism, there's so many different, okay, this will probably make it simple for anybody watching too, because I debate on this stuff a lot. There's a secular Jew, there's a Reformed Jew, there's Orthodox, there's Hasidic Jew. I'm a secular Jew, which means I believe in God, but I don't go to church. I'll just say church to make it easier. Mm-hmm. I don't go to church often. I don't pray often. I just...
Well, you don't need to go to church to go to heaven in the Bible.
Right, but we're considered... Right, I'm just explaining to them, my type is called secular. If I was more devoted, I'd be called Orthodox. And if I believed in different...
So basically, you guys have levels, I would say?
Yeah.
Okay. We don't have levels. Christianity is a base with you and God. You study the Bible. You don't have to go to church. It's good to go to church. You don't have to get to heaven. You basically follow the Bible, pray to God.
You just can't say God isn't God if he's right in front of you, pretty much.
What do you mean God isn't God?
Like in purgatory or whatever you want to call it. When you see God, if you're like, oh, I deny his existence.
That happened in the Bible, but that's not just the only way to get to heaven for us.
I'm saying how to not get to hell.
Basically denying him would be bad, but you still have if you do something really bad, you still have a chance to get to heaven. People misinterpret it as, oh, well, these people are still going to go on mass killing sprees and go to heaven. They're still going to keep doing it. Well, that's wrong, right? Because in the Bible, it basically states.
See, and that might be another difference within Judaism, because in Judaism, I don't know what it is, but we believe there's some sort of consequence for each action or each sin you've committed.
Mm-hmm. Basically, it's like saying, if you killed somebody and you're like, wow, that was bad, you pray to God, but you don't have any mean to it, then of course you're not going to go to heaven. I would say that's what I interpreted it as. But back to...
Right, you have to be genuine.
Back to basically why there's no proof or anything. The scriptures of Jesus walking, I believe in Jesus. That's basically my proof for the Bible. I don't know what would be proof for you. But I mean, I would say that when you go to church,
honestly, it's asking for a lot. But could you imagine if you spoke to God like in your head,
but our bodies
saw him, and you literally saw him, like how much that would change for a human, or if somebody was like I really, really, really want to see God, and they just like he appeared in their dream like that. I mean, my dad has
it's not faith, but our bodies aren't I mean, in the Bible, I don't know how you guys go about it, but our bodies aren't handled to see God or to hear Him or anything like that.
But when Moses saw
Moses seen Him in a fire bush. So many things occurred to his body when he seen that. So that's why it wasn't fully God or anything like that. So that's how basically.
I mean, wouldn't seeing Jesus for Christians be like seeing God?
It's basically the same thing. Holy Spirit, God, and Christianity. Christian. The only real argument we can make, Chris, is given all the documents about Jesus had to go through, it become more unlikely that he was a lied or lived in
all that is documented about what Jesus had to do.
I mean, even if evolution was real, it doesn't prove that God wasn't real. I mean, who's not to say? What was that?
Would it disprove?
Because it wouldn't disprove him. No.
Listen. Wait. You consider the Bible not just the New Testament, but the Old Testament also, correct?
My comment is supporting you.
Wait. Just ignore Chris for a second. Look, you consider. Chris, shut up.
I haven't studied the Old Testament very much. We don't.
But you know about Genesis.
Genesis, I would say, yeah.
Okay, Adam and Eve, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't if evolution was proven, wouldn't it kind of disprove the Old Testament?
The Old Testament.
How so? I'm not talking about the New Testament. Huh?
How so?
Because it would disprove the story of Adam and Eve.
But how? How he created her?
Because
stuff like that from the bone of the body?
Because Adam and Eve are, in terms of evolution, modern day humans. If evolution was real, the first humans wouldn't really be modern day human.
I guess that would be true, but I mean,
so wait. All I'm trying to get you to say is if it would or would not disprove the Old Testament.
Would it or would it not? I would have to look into it. I don't know fully much about evolution. I know the basics, but my point is the story of Adam and Eve. You're saying that he took the bone from the body and voila, the person was there, right?
My point is, if you disprove the Old Testament, you might as well be disproving the New Testament, because I don't know how I've talked to Christians that do believe that the Old Testament is written directly by God, not through a human, but by God, given to a human, right? Mm-hmm. How Moses received it on the Mount Sinai, correct? Mm-hmm. If God wrote the Old Testament, there could not have been human errors.
There could not have been what?
Human errors. If we prove evolution to exist,
I don't think you understand the whole purpose of Earth. Like, I mean, it's not God's almighty, yes, but he's not saying he knows what we're going to make our decisions as. He knows our whole life planned out, but he's not going to change anything because
but you're not seeing. But that's irrelevant. Listen to what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. If the theory of evolution was proven, right? Mm-hmm. If we had 100% evidence for it, then it would disprove the fact that God wrote the Old Testament, which is essentially the Bible.
It would disprove, but it would. I mean, you would have to look into it because they're kind of two different things, I guess you could say. When you mean by the whole Old Testament, what are you specifically talking about?
The Old Testament is the Torah, which is the Bible.
I mean, it's more than just the Adam and Eve. Are you talking about Jesus. It was basically, since it said that part, it's going to be disproven?
No, there's a lot of parts, but it would just go together. It would just my point is, the Old Testament cannot have human error. And I'm sure if you Google human error in the Old Testament, you won't find any.
Like, what do you mean human error?
Like, something, like they can't say, okay, well, Adam and Eve are the first humans if there's humans before Adam and Eve. Because if it was written by God, God doesn't make mistakes. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying?
God doesn't make mistakes. He
wouldn't make mistake in the Old Testament. That wouldn't make sense. He's God.
But the thing is, he's not basically navigating their life for them. He's letting them choose. He put the tree there, the tree's there for safety.
How would an almighty, I know you don't. I know you don't like when I use that term.
I mean, I don't mind the term. It's just you're misguided when you use it as the term as Almighty.
How would an okay?
He is Almighty. He created Earth, but the thing is, you're trying to say, well, if he created this, why is he let? Why did he prove himself? Why did he prove himself wrong?
He still has the same amount of power.
Huh?
He still has the same amount of power. How could God make a mistake?
He didn't make a mistake by creating Adam and Eve.
No, but if he did, if we prove that the evolution exists, evolution is real.
But what would be the mistake?
God must have made a mistake, huh? Adam and Eve.
What would be?
Adam and Eve.
Adam and Eve would be a mistake in evolution.
Yeah, I just explained that to you 5 minutes ago.
You didn't really explain it. You said basically you're saying that since he took the bone out and Adam and Eve were there, basically that's false if evolution occurred.
Well, because Adam and Eve wouldn't be the first humans.
Adam and Eve wouldn't be the first humans. Why so?
Because there isn't a first human.
There isn't a first human?
It goes beyond Adam and Eve were modern humans. It goes beyond.
I mean, he created all the animals
in the theory of evolution. Right.
Mm-hmm. So basically, if evolution was real, yeah, I'd prove that wrong. But evolution isn't real. That's the thing. We didn't come from one thing, and we all just disordered.
There's no right or wrong.
What do you mean?
Because evolution hasn't been proven or disproven. It's just opinions.
I mean, it's a theory, and I guess you could say the same thing about.
I know. So I'm being hypothetical when I'm saying if it was disproven, which would disprove the Bible.
I guess you could say that if evolution was proven from the way I've read about it, then yes.
So, if that was true, and the reason I'm saying this all is because I've had people that have given me. See, I don't remember them. I've had people that have given me legitimate reasons for theory of evolution being real. And I just don't remember what they said, to be honest. But
I mean,
and that's kind of what
I think. I mean, you've been taught about it at school. I've looked into it. I mean, it's a slumpy. Oh, sorry, I don't know if you can hear me, but I just got a request on there. I mean, it's just you say you like to believe in evolution. You still believe in God.
I'd much rather prefer. If we had the choice to pick between evolution or God, and both of them could be true, I'd much rather pick God in this second.
I mean, but you're saying you'd much rather. I mean, everyone would always want to pick the better one, but the thing is, you have doubts about God, I guess you could say, and I would say
I think any human, no matter how strong they are in their faith, has some doubts. I have very religious friends that have doubts.
I mean, but your doubts, like, I mean, you've said there's levels in your religion. I would say maybe go to church, find out these answers, and I don't know what you guys call the Bible, but like maybe you can ask a priest these questions, or I don't know what you guys call them, or we call them a pastor.
See, every time I talk to a Christian or Catholic about this, they bring me evidence from the Bible, and I don't like that.
They bring you evidence. I mean, I just brought you one that wasn't just in the Bible.
Right, and I like that. I appreciate that. But they only refer to the Bible. They're like, well, in this verse, in the story of Matthew, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. Like, you can't.
I mean, that's true, but you also got to take the fact that what we believe in is faith. God says many times is He doesn't need to prove Himself in order for you to believe. Right. There's an afterlife for that, as heaven.
Right.
So, I mean, that's basically a big part of our religion. It's not just, well, where's the proof at? We don't go off of proof.
Exactly.
We go off of the faith.
Exactly.
And our proof, I would say my proof of believing in God is when I go to church and I'm in a hard time right now, and this scripture just helped me get through the day and it answered my questions of what I was going through. I do pray to God and we have the connection, but it's when I go to church and that little part just pushes me and helps me out. That's a sign to me. I mean, it may not be a sign to you, but that's proof to me. And I mean, it's just, I mean, it feels good to believe in God, to be quite honest. I don't know how it wouldn't. I don't know what you...
The reason it wouldn't, not wouldn't feel good, but sometimes I lose hope when I feel like I am in a tough situation like that, and I ask and I pray, and I feel like it doesn't like solve. And then I think, okay, I'm not gonna. This is like literal, like exact. I'm no longer gonna think about it. I'm just gonna physically take it upon myself to try to change that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's where it's like, because I have friends. I have a friend who's Catholic, and we'll be in a tough situation. He'll be like, it's okay. Like, we'll just pray to God and we'll be fine. I'm like, well, you can pray all you want. I'm going to go do something about
it. Well, I mean, if you would like, I would say, have your friend take you to a Christian church, or you guys can go to a Christian church, or if you go to a Catholic church with him, I mean, I would try a Christian church. I know a lot more about that. I don't know many other.
Well, really, there's no difference between our religions except Jesus. That's it.
Except Jesus. I mean, then
that's not really a big difference.
I mean, what do you guys call the Bible? Is it still the Bible, the Holy Bible?
In English, you could call it the Bible. We call it the Torah.
But it says the same words, basically.
It's the Old Testament. I don't know how else. Most Christians are pretty aware of it. You studied it, like you've had to. You start with the Old Testament, you move on to the New Testament, because the Old Testament is like the basis for the New Testament.
Yeah, so
it's Genesis, Exodus, Deuteronomy.
So we basically were the same thing, but I believe in the Bible it says stuff about Jesus. In yours, is it taken out, or
it's just not included?
It's just not included, so it's taken out. Okay.
So it's before Jesus. So it's before. Which is interesting to me because Jesus existed, or I mean, Jesus. Well, obviously, no shit. Jesus was Jewish, and Jesus agreed with what we read today.
But I mean, Jesus is God, and God is the Holy Spirit, and stuff like that.
Right, which is why I don't think that if Jews are the chosen people by God, which is what a lot of Christians believe in, then that must mean that Judaism must be the chosen religion. Then why do we need Christianity?
Mm-hmm. I guess I can go back and forth.
Does that mean maybe Jews are just stubborn and we haven't accepted Jesus? Or I
don't know. That's a good question to ask the pastor or the priest, what you guys call them. I mean, I would say try it out if you want to try it out. If you don't, that's totally fine. But I would encourage you to come try it out.
I'm an open-minded person. I just don't see I don't see the reason to change. It wouldn't do much for me. I mean, I'd still be believing in the same things anyways and having the same type of prayers.
Yeah, but I mean, they have the differences maybe that you could see in them. Since you're coming from the Jewish to Christianity and etc. from that, I mean, maybe you could see the differences. But I mean, I don't know. I take my time to believe God gives me signs, and when I'm in a hard time. But I mean, it's not like all the time. It's not like, God, I need this new dirt bike. Please help me. I mean, and of course that's not gonna be there. You have to work for it. I mean, and stuff has hard times too. You may not even see it, but he's helping you through the time as well. I mean,
right? Like you take it for granted.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a situation where you feel like you've went to God and haven't gotten the return from it when you really needed it?
When I really needed it.
In the case of a death, or
in case of a death. I mean, I could say like a dog, for example. Yes, Judaism was the religion.
But I don't think it's necessary to have a whole new religion just because of that belief. And maybe Jews at the time had legitimate reason not to believe that Jesus was the Messiah. And I'm sure if I look it up right now, actually, it would explain why they believed that. Because I've heard Jews talking about it before. But I think that's a minimal difference to have such, there's 13 million Jews in the world. There's 2 billion, I don't even know the number, Christians. Did you freeze?
The time